Hello, I'm Lisa Adler, co-artistic director of Horizon Theater Company. Welcome to our production of the play Love M by Clarinda Ross, premiering today on World AIDS Day as part of our Horizon at Home series of virtual performances, which began back in March when we had to close our physical doors in Atlanta due to COVID. But today is our opening day event. So if you're watching now, you'll be seeing this beautiful production of Love M for the very first time in front of audiences. And we are celebrating that by introducing to the play tonight live and by inviting you to stay after the show to chat with us for a community conversation with a fantastic panel of thought leaders in the Black community, including our Love M star, LAMMAN RUCKER. And we have with us Amara Kennedy, who are here representing our partner organizations for this presentation, AIDS Healthcare Foundation and Black Leadership AIDS Crisis Coalition. And I am honored that Amara is also a board member of Horizon Theater Company and an incredible promoter of and supporter of the arts, and particularly of the arts as a means of social change, healing, and bringing our community together. So, Amara, World AIDS Day is a big day for your organization.
Yes.
It's really fantastic to have you. This is such a gift that we partnered with you on Love M and put together this wonderful opening night event. We're going to be joining some really special guests after the show. So I would love if you would first tell me a little bit about at AHF and BLACC and what your organizations do, and then also speak a little bit about what we're going to see after tonight, what that conversation is going to be like after the show.
Well, thanks, Lisa. And first and foremost, just on behalf of the over 6,000 global employees of AIDS Healthcare Foundation, I really want to say how excited we are to partner with Atlanta-based Horizon Theater Company, which has a tremendous legacy of just doing incredible work that inspires and uplifts and educates and just connects the heart and spirit to viewers now across the globe. So we're very happy to be in this partnership, Lisa. AIDS Healthcare is actually the world's largest nonprofit public health organization with a primary focus on addressing the HIV/AIDS epidemic globally. We now are in 45 countries and domestically have a footprint in 16 states, including the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, and have in care over 1.5 million individuals. And our motto is really simple, is to provide cutting-edge medicine and advocacy regardless of one's ability to pay. So we run a variety of nonprofit entities. We run nonprofit healthcare centers, nonprofit wellness centers, nonprofit pharmacies, and nonprofit thrift stores, which many across the country may know out of the closet. And our true commitment is to really connect community to the work of empowering ourselves around health and wellness. And as it relates to HIV and AIDS, knowing our status and getting tested. And if you do test positive today or any day through an AHF facility, our commitment is to get you linked to the quality care you deserve in no more than 72 hours or less, regardless of your ability to pay. And that is the work that we are doing across this globe. BLACC, as you said, which is the Black Leadership AIDS Crisis Coalition, is a national initiative launched and supported, or as we say, powered by AHF, that really is bringing together community influencers, medical professionals, and leaders within the Black and African American community across this nation to more connect deeply this work of sexual health empowerment and health and wellness within the Black American community. So we're very excited about, again, being able to use the power of the arts to connect the country and really the globe to this virtual experience, to this powerful message as we join in millions today in commemorating World AIDS Day. So we are so excited about tonight, this premiere of Love M, and just say to folks, know your status and get tested. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Great. Oh, and now we have a really wonderful video that you have. Anything you want to say about the video before? This is just a brief video introducing your organization and your work.
It's just a snapshot to show the tremendous work that AHF has been doing across the nation, specifically in the lens of connecting and empowering the Black American community.
Great. All right, Amy, our Zoom master, you want to bring us away?
There are thousands of Black lives that are being destroyed by HIV and AIDS every day. We join with 16-year-olds who are HIV positive, born that way, and have to live every day with the stigma and shame of ignorance. Today, by being here, you join in this movement. Do not leave here the same. This is a call to action.
If we can get one person educated about how severe this is hitting our communities, then they can go on and express to their friends, hey, this really is important. We need to listen.
We need to keep funding and awareness on HIV and AIDS, especially with young people. We need to actually increase the funding because it's still a big problem in this country and something that we need to continue to address.
I wish we didn't have to come out here and fight for funding for HIV and AIDS, but we do. It affects all of us. If it affects me, it affects you. If it affects you, it affects me. You, everybody outside of this stadium.
50% of people in Atlanta that are infected didn't know it because they wouldn't go and get themselves checked out because they were afraid of what people would say. We've got to take the fear out of this.
And that's why AIDS Healthcare Foundation that has a vision to bring us all together, beginning with the claim that healthcare is not a privilege, it is a right, it's a moral right, it's a human right, it's a civil right.
To sit in a seat at 36 years old, to be an entrepreneur, to be heterosexual, to be Christian, to be, dual degree, to be a sorority girl, to have gone to school and done everything that they said I was supposed to do. Yes, I'm HIV positive now, but I don't care what you think.
So Lisa, as you can see, that's just some of the work that through the lens of BLACC that AHF is committed to do and continue to do across this country. So thank you. And again, thank you for this partnership, and here we are.
Here we are. You're doing some amazing work in the community. It's really, really fantastic. Okay, well, we have another partner on this event tonight, which is rolling out HealthIQ, who are partnering with us to bring this platform tonight to live to all of their social media channels as well. So it's going to ours and theirs. And I want to introduce Tigna Rand to just say a little bit about rolling out HealthIQ and what they are and what they're doing for the community.
Good evening. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Amara. Thank you for this opportunity. It's great to be here this evening with this phenomenal premiere that's getting ready to take place. Rolling out HealthIQ was an initiative that we started right at the beginning of COVID, and it was really to talk about the disparities and what it has impacted our community, especially the Black community. And of course, over the years, health has always been one of our pillars that we communicated to our community, and we broke that down in various capacities from the things that have impacted the Black community, such as HIV and other disparities. So it made it, appropriately, since we're in this new unprecedented time of being in this virtual world, why not find a way to disseminate information through virtual platform such as this with our partners, such as AHF, BLACC, and Horizon Theater. So it's great that we're here together for a phenomenal event. And I look forward to a great show and a great after conversation with our phenomenal panelists that we have.
Great. All right. Now, speaking of social media channels, if you are viewing from our website and you decide you'd like to chat with us or chat with the panel afterwards, you can't do that for our website, but right below that, if you're there, you can go to our YouTube channel or our Facebook channel. It's a little button that says watch on YouTube or Facebook. So you can press one of those and then you can use the chat functions there. We'll be monitoring that after the show to see what questions are coming in from the crowd to talk to our panel. And I do want to bring it back to Amara. Did you say a little bit about the panel? Did we get to that earlier? I can't remember now.
No, and I've got, listen, I'm so excited about where we're here tonight. So yes, we have an amazing group of African-American leaders from across this country that will join us in what is a community conversation, which keeps with the rich tradition of Horizon when we're all physically in the space of really continuing the conversation and engaging community. So tonight's community conversation will be moderated by a phenomenal journalist, award-winning journalist and host, Mr. Patrick Riley out of New York. The panel will also include, of course, LAMMAN RUCKER that Lisa mentioned, as well as Daniel DRIFFIN, who is a phenomenal young man based here in Atlanta, Georgia, that co-founded an organization called Thrive SS that really is about engaging, uplifting, and empowering young gay Black men, and is doing tremendous work not only in Atlanta, but across this country, as well as Dr. SHALONDRA CRAWFORD, who is, first of all, an amazing woman of God as a first lady in a church in the Los Angeles community, but is also a renowned therapist and psychiatrist and has really been entrenched in doing this work on so many levels and connecting the Black faith tradition to the power and impact of addressing HIV and AIDS. And last and definitely not least is Dr. Daniel BLACC, who's an associate professor at Clark Atlanta University, one of our tremendous historically Black colleges and universities, but is also a renowned author and lecturer and is going to bring that lens of historically, what does it mean around addressing some of the issues that will be brought up in LovM. So please stay with us and engage with this powerful conversation with this great group of panelists.
Great. Okay, and if you like a regular play, if you want a playbill, you can get one of those actually on our website. You can go there and get a playbill for the show to tell you about all the artists and bios for the panelists and all that good stuff. And you can find that on our website at horizontheater.com/love-m, and that will get you there. I'm just going to say a little bit about the play before we go. The play is by actress Clarinda Ross, actress and playwright who was born and raised in Atlanta in the South. And it's based on interviews with over 30 mothers and relatives of men who were diagnosed with AIDS in the early days of the AIDS crisis, when we knew very little about it, similar to our current pandemic today when we started. In fact, Dr. Fauci, who we see on TV now, was one of the key players back in that earlier pandemic as well. Clarinda was inspired by talking more recently to a mother of one of her good friends, one of the early people who died of AIDS in the 80s. And she realized that she wanted to tell the stories of these mothers while they were still alive, to tell her personally. So she interviewed them and came up with this beautiful play that's about the healing power of love, acceptance, and forgiveness, a story about two mothers and sons whose lives are unexpectedly linked. Okay, now I'm going to talk about watching a play on Zoom. So you know, this play was filmed from the actor's own home. So the backgrounds, the lighting you see are in their houses. It's what we could create simply with them in their own homes. They're on their own computers or phones filming. And then our wonderful Zoom master and editor, Amy, has edited them for us tonight. So this is what independent theater looks like during the pandemic, when we are limited in our tools, but can reach more audiences via the internet. And with Zoom theater, and this play was just told in letters, unlike a TV or movie, it has a lot of verbal action. There's a lot of talking. And so if you need to, you can walk around the room, you can go to the fridge or the restroom and just keep listening. It's about 90 minutes long. So, and if you step away and you miss something, you'll be able to come back to it because it's going to be available in all these channels after we finish tonight as well. It'll be running for a long time. So feel free to tell people to come and view it. This archive will be there, and we'll also have just the play itself that you can view and listen to. All right, finally, I need to thank our sponsors. We would not be here without all our sponsors. Of course, BLACC and AHF, thank you for being here for us tonight, but also our season sponsors, the City of Atlanta Office of Cultural Affairs, the Fulton County Department of Arts and Culture, and the Fulton County Commission, the Georgia Council for the Arts, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Metropolitan Atlanta Arts Fund, Warner Media, and Macy's. Thanks so much to them for making us possible. And speaking of which, it's Giving Tuesday. So if you love what you see tonight and you want to support our work or the work of AHF, go to horizontheater.com or aidshealth.org. Is that right, Emma?
Yeah.
And make a donation. Any amount is great. We appreciate it. Allow us to keep creating and serving our communities. So I think that's what we've got. I hope you're ready. It's time now for our featured play. We're excited to introduce you to Love M by Clarinda Ross.
August 3rd, 1985. Dear son, it has been 2 weeks since I've heard from you. You are making me worried. Did you get my package? Common courtesy demands a response. Find the post office in San Francisco. I know they have one. If you've received your package, you'll find pre-stamped postcards and envelopes. I gave birth to you, so I feel like I can ask for communication from my baby boy. 3 kisses, XXX, love, Mother. P.S. I am proud of you. This program is your dream. I just hate that it is 3,000 miles away. I cannot think of a better way to spend our money than on my talented son. When I see you on stage, I know it is where you are meant to be. Your father is a work in progress. However, he never breaks a promise, and he promised if you were accepted to this program, he would pay for it. Don't you worry. I will hold his feet to that fire.
August 12th, 1985. Dear Mother, thanks for the care package. So glad to get it. I've been rehearsing late, sleeping, getting up, and running out again. You saved my life. I don't even think they sell grits here. Brooks, the new associate artistic director from New York, really seems to like me. I gotta run. I have to prep for class, and I am understudying 2 roles on the main stage. Love you, Chris.
Dear Chris, why would you want to live in a town without grits? Let me know if either of the other fellows falls down a flight of stairs and I'll fly out. 3 kisses. Love, M.
Dear M, accidents happen. All I'm saying. There are other things in life besides grits. And I have you pipelining me the perfect breakfast food while I pursue fame and fortune. Your favorite son. 3 kisses.
Dear only son, everyone at church misses you. The quality of the choir has greatly diminished without you. Miss Maddie is worse than ever. Daddy is very grumpy since you left. Or was he always grumpy? Doreen wants to introduce you to her niece the next time you're home. She's a beautiful girl. We can go to the club for lunch. Miss you. 3. Love, M.
Everyone at church does not miss me, but I miss you. Don't you get me started about Grumpy. Tell Daddy he better be good to my best girl. Y'all should go somewhere just the two of you. You love the ocean. Make him take you to the beach. XO. Love, Chris. P.S. The Tempest is going to be incredible. Wait till you see how they're doing the rain. My Fair Lady is almost sold out for the run. The director, Steven from New York, is phenomenal. He's mining all the social relevance about class and hypocrisy. A very biting kind of humor. Right up your alley, Mom. P.P.S. Tell Doreen no about the niece. The only woman in my life is my sainted mother.
Sainted mother, ha ha. My sarcasm redounds. It's way too hot to go to the beach. And we are going somewhere fabulous when we venture forth in November to see you in your plays. I adore San Francisco. I'll get to see the Pacific Ocean. Actually, I hate to get in the water, but I do love to look out at the ocean. Sold out already. Well, it's a big operation. One of my sorority sisters was telling me that she's seen several things there. Your father is making noise about not leaving work. I plan to get him drunk and wheel him on the plane. He's still pouting that you didn't want to go into business with him. He will have to get over it. You have a gift. You always have. And I believe in you. Are you making friends? I hope you are not too lonesome.
Mother, darling, dearest of my heart, I am way too busy to be lonely. I'm having the most fun ever. ACT is a dream come true. The company is top notch. To save money on housing, they've moved us to an apartment just off Market Street. It's me and 5 other MFA students. Please, these folks were not raised by you. This is what a vacuum looks like, Steve. This is where you turn it on. Communal living for sure, but close to the trolley and all the bars and nightlife. Since we had the biggest apartment, our place is becoming the gathering spot for the acting company. It's cold here, but I even love the rain, which rolls off the ocean in sheets. Hey, it's almost your anniversary. Make Daddy spring for the Mark Hopkins. I went up there for drinks last week. Someone was trying to impress me. The view is amazing. See you soon. XXX. Chris.
Who was trying to impress you? Guess what? Since it's our anniversary week and Thanksgiving, Grumpy is springing for the Mark Hopkins. A suite with a view. Thanks for the suggestion. You see, he does have a soft side. Oh, I can't wait to meet all your friends and fellow artistes. Maybe we could throw an orphans dinner party at your place for all the people in your company who can't go home for Thanksgiving. XXX, love, M.
You've reached Glenn and Deborah Harrison's. We're out slaying dragons and putting out brush fires. Y'all leave us a message, and we will give you a call just as soon as we can. Thanks.
Mom? Are you there? Got your letter. What a fabulous idea. The orphans will be thrilled. If you and Daddy spring for the turkey and the wine, the rest of the orphans will bring side dishes. I told them not to bother with dessert, that my very own mama, Ms. Deborah, will be making her world-famous apple custard and pumpkin pies. Can't wait to see you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You've reached Christopher Harrison. I'm out and about living the dream in rotating repertory. Leave me a message.
Hey, sweetheart. Sorry I missed your call. Have apron, will travel. Miss you terribly. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Dear Timmy, hope this gets to you by your birthday. Did you get the package? I labeled the poppy seeds to make it easy for you. If you sold in January, they should be about 6 inches now. Remember, weed out half or they won't do. You made the paper again. See enclosed clipping. Miss Valley Oxley would be out of business if it weren't for you and the Masons. You can keep this copy. Whenever you are in the Dublin Times, I get an extra copy. I'm making a scrapbook, but I can hardly keep up. And guess who likes to take naps right on top of my scrapbook and work? That Sparkle is gonna be the death of me. He got out last night and I was worried to death. Now, you know there are wild dogs around here. I'm a fool about that cat, I know I am. But it's pretty and keeps my toes warm. It has been cold here. I've had to lay straw to protect my seedlings. I worry about you, son. I hope you keep out of wind and weather. Timmy, I have prayed and prayed for you. I've not told your daddy what Pam and I found out about you and that boy, Michael. I'm afraid it would kill Daddy. Read from 1 Timothy chapter 1, verses 8 through 11. Read Timothy, the name of your grandfather. I named you for him.
1 Timothy 8 through 11. We know that the law is good if one uses it properly. We also know that the law is made not for the righteous, but for lawbreakers and rebels, the ungodly and sinful, the unholy and irreligious, for those who kill their fathers or mothers. Really, Mama? For the sexually immoral, for those who practice homosexuality. Dear Mama, thank you for the money. Michael and I will treat ourselves. I'm sorry to hear about Pam being on bed rest. We'll send her some good books to pass the time. So excited to be an uncle. Pam's baby will grow up in a better world. I'll talk to Daddy in person. It's my place to do it. I hope you're taking care of yourself. How's this cough? Love, Timothy.
You've made the front page. Miss Valley Oxley is beside herself about you in the picture with the governor. I am real proud of how well you've done there, Georgia Tech. Here's some money. The picture of your patio garden is real pretty. Daddy's about the same. Love, Mama. Oh, P.S. You are a good boy. I wish you were not gay.
Mama, thanks for the clipping. Miss Valley Oxley is in fine form. You know, she makes me sound a whole lot more important than I am. Daddy's cough sounds terrible. Try to get him to quit smoking. That will do a lot for his heart.
Your daddy is his own man. Can't change him. You know that. Son, I've been going to prayer circle here at church to save your soul. I love you, but I hate that you are gay. How can I sleep knowing my son is doomed for eternity? You were baptized in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Please pray on this choice of yours. You are risking eternal damnation. Don't you want to be with your brother Barry when you die? Your brother is in heaven. Don't you want to see him again? I can't help thinking if Barry had lived, you would be different. In my mind's eye, I see the two of you sitting on a pew at church with your granddaddy washing your feet and wrapping you up in towels to keep you warm. Jesus can help you change. Love, Mama. A P.S. Read Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9 through 11. Do not be deceived. Neither the sexually immoral, nor idolaters, nor homosexual offenders, nor thieves will inherit the kingdom of God.
Mama, tell Miss Valley Oxley to buckle her seatbelt. I am going to the Middle East on a trip with the Carter Center for Peace, and I am the youngest person and the only lawyer to be selected. Tell her I will get her a picture with a camel. We'll be traveling to Syria, Jordan, Egypt, Lebanon, Greece, the West Bank, and Israel, seeing many significant archaeological sites. One of the purposes of this trip is to get folks of different religious backgrounds to talk reasonably to people with differing points of view. Maybe it will help us. It grieves me that you're so worried about me. I don't want to argue with you. How's Daddy? Love, Tim.
Timmy, here's the latest from Miss V. Oxley. You are the local hero. But how would everyone feel about you if they knew the truth? I am proud of you for being selected for this peace trip. I am not proud of your choice to be gay. Please stop it. Move out from that Michael. Can't you get another roommate? Read Bible verses Leviticus 20:13. Here's $20. You look too skinny. Love, Mama.
Mama, thanks for the money. And if only it were a choice. Do you think that I would choose to be the other, to bring prejudice and shame on my family? God knows I feel guilty that I caused you pain. Mama, I've always known I was different, and I think you knew about me too. Look, I love you. Please don't ask me to change what I cannot change. Hey, you can't change Daddy. Why in the world would you think you can change me? So I'm doing these intense weekend training sessions in preparation for the peace mission. Their group includes religious leaders from all faiths, but the majority of them are Southern Baptists. President Carter wants to make sure that Baptists aren't becoming too insular. A big part of our mission is learning tolerance. I'm learning that the Bible has been translated many times to suit the purposes of those doing the translating. We don't own slaves or stone people anymore. Humans evolve to higher truth, and I hope and pray if I live a good life and help people, that God will accept me as I am.
You've reached Glenn and Deborah Harrison. We will give you a call just as soon as we can. Thanks.
Mom, I know you're there. Please pick up. I'm sorry y'all found out this way. Is Daddy still mad? Call me. Did you even see the play? I went over to the Mark Hopkins after my matinee and they said y'all had checked out. I wish you hadn't had to leave town without talking to me. Mom. Please answer. Mom, pick up. Mom, please. We have to talk. I love you, and I love Daddy. Please call me back. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
December 3rd, 1985. Dear Chris, please stop calling. Give us a little breathing room. This is a lot to deal with. You have choices in life. We all do. I've always supported you in your acting, but your father is so upset. We cannot condone this lifestyle. I love you, son. I always will, but this is killing us. Every time someone asks about you, I just freeze. We are worried what will happen if people find out, that it will reflect badly on Daddy, on his business. He views this as a betrayal and something more. He is beside himself as he thinks it calls his own manhood into question. I saw the play. Dad did too. He cried through the whole thing. But the tears were for you, not for Willie Loman. When Linda Loman held her son's face and said, "My baby," I just lost it. You're a wonderful performer. Let us recover from this upset. Please give us space. Love, M.
Dear M, I'm sorry Daddy is mad. You had to know from my dress-up days in your giant closet. Please don't let this change things between us. I don't want things to be weird at Christmas. XXX, Chris. P.S. All my compadres were going on about my good-looking mother. You totally charmed them at the orphan dinner with your southern hospitality. They'd all heard my tales of the divine Miss D and were not disappointed. Loved your haircut.
Dad's not mad. He is destroyed. He wanted to surprise you and take you out to brunch before your matinee. He wasn't prepared for what he saw when he opened your door. I wasn't really prepared. Remember when you brought your friend Claire home from college that time and Daddy adored her so? Well, we hoped that we were wrong. Remember how he took Claire down to his office for lunch and showed her around? He wanted grandkids. Hell, I want grandkids. Why make this choice? Surely you can just control these urges. I am living proof that sex is not the be-all and end-all of life. Your father will not continue to pay for your school unless you promise him that you will exclusively date women for 2 years. He is just furious. And I'm wondering if you ought to come home at Christmas. I don't want to upset him.
If it makes Daddy feel any better, tell him I did try women. Lots. Those UGA sorority girls were mooning over me, as you may recall. Don't you think if I could love women, I would? Yes, I do love Claire. Life would be so much easier if I were attracted to her sexually because A, those would totally be some awesome looking kids, and B, she knows how to vacuum. I've always had the most beautiful, funny, wonderful women in my life, and yes, that includes my sainted mother. I am coming home for Christmas. Daddy is loaded. You cannot permit him to drop his only son from payroll, even if I am the autiste. As for grandkids, Julie and Jeff are on this for you. I am guaranteed to be the world's greatest uncle. I'm sorry Daddy is mad. Handle him. You always win. Jingle bells. 3 kisses. Chris.
Dear Timmy, a leopard cannot change its spots. It is in his nature to kill or be eaten. This relationship with this boy, Michael, ain't natural. Judges chapter 19, verses 16 through 24.
Seriously, Mama, stop the verses. We are not wicked. God has blessed me with a true love, just like he blessed you and Daddy. Aren't we lucky? You know how good Michael is and how he loves me? Doesn't the church teach love and acceptance anymore? This is me. Please accept me and my life's companion. I'm leaving soon and I don't want to argue.
How can you ask me to accept the unacceptable? Our new preacher is preaching sermons saying this AIDS is God's punishment for the sin of homosexuality. I raised you right and gave you what I could. Oh, I was so proud of you in high school. Basketball, band, and all those girls loved you. Good girls. You could have married any one of them and not lived in this sin. I'm afraid for your soul. Read Romans chapter 1, verses 18 through 32. It says it plain.
Timothy Davidson. Oh, hey. Nothing. I'm not mad at you, Michael. It's just, I got another letter. Same as always, I'm a sinner. But easy for you to say your parents are liberals. She won't listen. I am the source of her pain. I'm the bad seed, the deviant, the sinner. It gets to me. I feel guilty. No, it's not you. Yeah, well, I'd like to have a rational conversation with her too. But okay. I will try reason. Love you. Bye. Dear Mama, please let's talk about happy things in our letters. Words have power, and yours are hurting me. I understand that you're repeating what you're hearing at church from some well-meaning, if underinformed folks. I mean, long distance is expensive, but please call me if you have to say this stuff. You'll get it out and it'll be over. There will be no record of it. Letters linger. Just don't fight. I'm asking you, please, no more misinterpreted Bible verses. Today in our group, a woman read Psalm 121, and it reminded me of you. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in.
The Lord shall preserve thy coming out and thy going in.
From this time forth.
From this time forth.
And even forevermore.
And even forevermore. Dear Timmy, 121 is a good one. My granny, Zonnie Pruitt, who was half Cherokee, taught it to me. She couldn't hardly read, but she could say that one by heart. Oh, thank you so much for the candlesticks. Oh, they are beautiful. I cannot get over the picture of you on a camel. Miss Valley Oxley has put it in the paper. No surprise there. Miss Valley did a little write-up of your trip with the caption, "A Man of Peace." I thought you'd like that. I've got 3 copies, so I'll save one for you. I put one in my Timmy Bragg book, and I got the other on the refrigerator with a magnet. So it's like you right there with me while I'm cooking. Today, while I was standing blanching corn for canning, and you know what a hot job that is, the steam was coming up like it does from the pressure cooker. I turned and saw your picture through all that steam. And you with that Arab scarf on your head. Well, it was just like you walked right out of a Bible story. Was that a sign? Please be safe over there. I won't sleep good till I know you're back in the USA. And when you come home, I'll make your favorite chicken and dumplings. I sure could use a Timmy massage. Ooh, I took a tumble off the back steps. Don't know what happened. Just lost my balance. Anyway, I must have pulled a muscle in my back. Next time you come, if you rub my back for me, I promise we can sit here and watch programs and I'll give you a first-rate foot massage. Don't be angry with me for trying to save you from the fiery furnace. You are my precious son. I love you. Mama. Oh, P.S. Miss Valley is hoping you'll do a talk for the auxiliary. She got a slide projector, so if you've got slide pictures to show from your trip, she's ready.
Dear Mama, be careful on those steps. I've met the most amazing woman on this trip. Her name is Dr. Kathy Turkle, and she's an ordained Presbyterian minister. She's only a few years younger than you, but we had a long talk about you in the church. Now, she's helping me to understand your letters and why you're turning to the Bible. She maintains that fear is driving your letters. And why you're turning to the Bible in this Bible verses, this is fear talking. I understand why you're scared. These are scary times for gay people. And Dr. Turkle has helped me view things from your vantage point. She's an amazing woman, and she's been on several digs here in Israel. She said, usually on digs, there are many strata or layers of civilization stacked on top of each other. The first layer is typically the Jews, then the Christians built right on top of the Jews, and then the Muslim symbols are on top of that. Each civilization building on top of the next. All this fighting in the name of God, all followers of Abraham, three great religions that share so much but cannot seem to get along. Dr. Turkle and I spent a day together, digging at an ancient archaeological site on the west bank of the Dead Sea. It was hot, windy, a strange place, oddly beautiful. Anyway, this site is unique because in this one location, researchers have found symbols of all three monotheistic religions mixed together in the same strata. Dr. Turkle says the site shows us through archaeology that once we all lived together in peace and that we can again. This entire trip has been about us learning to talk to people who hate each other. I know you love me. I'll probably be home by the time you get this letter, but I want us to work towards understanding. Love, Tim.
Your talk was wonderful at the library. You'd have made a good teacher. Everyone in town that I meet tells me how lucky I am to have you for a son. Don't be mad at me for saying so, but I was glad you did not bring Michael. The dad is pretty good today. He said to send y'all money. Love, Mama.
You've reached Timothy Davidson and Michael Hernandez. We are unable to come to the phone right now. If this is business related, please call Tim's office at the Carter Center for Peace, 496-1105.
Timmy, your daddy's bad sick. They've taken him to the ambulance to the hospital. Come home.
Mom, what happened?
March 15th, 1988. Dear Mother, I hope you and Daddy are well. Julie tells me things are frosty but okay between you. Mom, I'm sorry. I know you are angry about me dropping out of school. Please understand my decision to go to work full-time for the Names Project. My neighborhood, my community here has been hit by the plague. I felt stupid walking past the AIDS quilt offices every day to go to class to do Alexander technique. What bullshit. Alexander would make you cringe too, Mother. It is a cult, if you ask me. I do love acting. I really do. But the day I walked into the quilt office, there was this mad amalgam of folks, young, old, gay, straight, sewing, working together on these panels, these quilt pieces. I don't want to sound too left coast for my mother, the cynic, but I had this feeling of peace, of belonging. It was the biggest sense memory I ever had, and I wasn't lying on a sprung floor and feeling a cloud of energy or breathing through the soles of my feet. Suddenly, I had a crystal clear memory of Granny Harrison's quilts made from scrap pajamas. I still have one. I brought it out here with me. That quilt is tangible. It is something from home that can travel and cover me with love. It hit me in that moment that these people are trying. They are doing. They are not just walking past. There's a beautiful young woman named Gert. She's the main seamstress. I've fallen in love with her. Well, not that way. Spiritual love with her. We are quite the team. She has a killer sense of humor. She reminds me of you. Gert and I have been on tour with the quilt off and on for the past few months. I've been checking my mail religiously. I know you've gotten my letters. You're angry. I can feel it through your silence. But please understand, the Names Project gives meaning to my life in the midst of the insanity of all my friends dying. If this many deaths occurred in any other segment of the population, there would be an unbelievable outcry, a public health emergency. We are going out on the road again soon with the quilt, with several stops, then ending on the mall in Washington, D.C. I want to see you. Could I come home for a visit once the tour is done? Could you meet me at the airport Sunday evening, May 15th? Is that Mother's Day? Well, it is for me. Miss you. XXX. Chris.
Dear Chris, we received your letter right before Easter and I put it in a drawer until now. It was too painful. I haven't been sleeping and the emotional strain of your announcement has been too much. But you forced my hand and I must deal with you. I can't work at all. I don't even know if this letter makes sense. I am so upset, but I am trying to hold it together. Your father has fallen into a deep depression. It hurts me terribly to say so, but you are not welcome here. Do not come to Atlanta after the tour. No one in our family will be there to meet you at the airport. We refuse to have anything to do with your work with AIDS. What would our friends think? When you took Daddy's money for college, and did not enroll, you crossed a line. That check was for your tuition and living expenses. You squandered it, and worse, you lied to us. A lie of omission is still a lie. You let us believe you were still in school. How could you do this to us? On top of everything else you put us through? I cannot defend you any longer. Daddy blames me for you being gay. He says I spoiled you, and I suppose I did. Chris, how could you take our money for school, and give it to AIDS? Why in the world would you throw away your talent and your life, traipsing around the country in a van full of hippies with the AIDS quilt? What you are doing will not make one little bit of difference. You cannot cure this disease. You are making a spectacle of yourself and embarrassing your family. Until you stop working with those AIDS people, you are not welcome here, and we will no longer support you financially. You have to grow up, my baby. Be a real man. Get a decent job. Enclosed is a check from my Mad Money account. It is the last money you will ever get. And if Daddy knew I was giving it to you, he would divorce me. Take this money. Leave San Francisco. Go somewhere, anywhere. Get a haircut and start over. And leave all this AIDS business behind you. Until you stop crusading for AIDS, I must say goodbye. XXX. Love, M.
You've reached Chris. I'm out dancing somewhere in the Castro. Catch me if you can. But change first, because you are not going to wear that if you want to be seen with me.
or be boring and leave a message.
I know you are there, sweetness. It's Gert. Pick up. Pick up! Listen, sister, we are going to fight this. There's a new study. We will get you in. My best friend is not going down without a fight. Boring my ass. I have my hair done and my big girl shoes on. I will be there in 15 minutes, and we are going dancing.
Dear Mama, you weren't in the room when Daddy passed, so I need you to hear my story. It was late, or really early, around 3:30 a.m. I'd fallen asleep with my head on his bed. Something woke me. I could sense a change in his skin, a sort of blue tone coming up from his feet. I knew he was leaving, Mama. I could see it. Since I knew these would be our last moments together, I was moved to jump into the bed with him, and I held his hands. I was stroking his face and telling him how much I loved him and how grateful I was for the sacrifices he made for me, for my education, and that I was honored to be his son. I said, Daddy, Mama tells me that I've disappointed you. I'm sorry if I've caused you pain. If you know about me and accept who I am, please squeeze my hand. Mama, he squeezed my hand. He accepted me. His face was peaceful. Daddy knew that Michael was not my roommate. He knew, and he accepted me. He gave me that gift before he passed. Can't you accept me too? I'm not asking you to choose me over your faith, but I am asking you to consider, what Jesus would do. The Bible is a translation, yes, perhaps guided by the Spirit, but man-made. Please look at this list of verses from Dr. Turkle that support accepting differences and even same-sex relationships. I know how much the Bible means to you, so I'm asking that you meditate and pray on these passages. Love, Tim.
Dear Timmy, that you're telling about Daddy ain't true. He wasn't in mine at the end, and he did not know enough to answer. Those verses don't change your sin. You're not reading it right. There is no such of a thing as a devout gay Christian. I showed your letter to Pam. She's very upset. She claims you are twisting the Bible. Pam said that she was ashamed that you let Michael come to the hospital for everybody to see. She don't want Michael to come here no more, and she especially don't want him around her babies because she says it will be a bad influence on them. You are always welcome in my home, but please respect Pam's wishes and don't bring Michael here anymore. I've been through a lot, and I just can't take any more upset. I miss your daddy something awful.
Dear Mama, I've tried to answer all your letters with love and the duty of a good son, but I cannot allow you or my sister's family to treat Michael unkindly. I hope you will come to accept me for who I am. Until then, please do not contact me. I will not open any more letters. I'm done. They hurt too much. I'm making this defensive move because I feel you are never going to change. I strive to live a peaceful life. It hurts me to do so, but I'm abandoning you. Though we won't be seeing each other anymore, please know that I will always love you. Love, Timothy.
Dear M, I have floaters in my eye. I'm on the AIDS ward at San Francisco General Hospital, amongst the social outcasts left to die alone. I have malignant skin lesions called Kaposi sarcoma, open sores. It's all so awful. I am sorry. I am ashamed. 3 years ago, when I moved to the magical land of the Tale of the City, I was so happy, but I was a foolish, spoiled boy. Only thought about having fun. I was handsome. Oh, not now. I wanted to be wanted, touched, desired, and I wanted to have sex all the time. For the first time in my life, I was away from the judging eyes of the Georgia Southern Baptists. I heard your and Daddy's comments about fags. The golden boy couldn't come out. Maybe if I had valued myself more, if I had accepted my true self, I wouldn't have had sex with strangers or partied so much. I have an idea who infected me, but I have no idea how many men I infected. My work with the Names Project was my penance. I pray that it makes up for any harm that I did. I just wanted to be touched, to feel wanted, to belong. A lifetime of being the other. And finally, here in San Francisco, I felt like I belonged. Well, I'm not pretty anymore. And no one wants to touch me.
January 10th, 1989, 2:44 p.m. You have one new message.
This is Gert Mullins. Do you know what day it is? His birthday. This is your son, lady. The letter you and your asshole husband sent broke Chris's heart. All he's ever done is love you. He's dying. Get your ass out here. The doctors can't believe he's still alive. God! The years I spent hearing about his sainted mother and how much he loved you, you make me want to puke. What kind of mother are you? You should be here with him. His T-cell count is less than 1. He is in the fetal position. How can you? What a great life he's lived. What fun we had together. We were warriors against stupidity, hatred, and the goddamned NIH. What an idealistic, beautiful, intelligent person you raised. How in the world can you not be proud? Why in hell haven't you come? I think you are afraid to face him. You've waited so long while he begged you to come. Well, now he can't speak, so you're safe. He can't tell you how much you've hurt him. If you have one shred of decency, you will get your ass out here so he can see you. He can still see. Let him see your face so he can die. Get a ticket, bitch.
Em, come. Mom. Love you. Em.
Brothers and sisters, again today I am concerned by what's in the news. Turn to Romans chapter 1, verse 27. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves the due penalty for their perversion. Due penalty. That is what the Bible says, the Word of God. These homosexual sinners have brought it on themselves. Yes, Sister Davidson, are you moved? Well, please come down and testify.
I grew up in this church. My grandfather founded this church. Daddy, Uncle Morris, and Uncle Dan were deacons. I was married in this church. My sisters Bertie and Beth and I all went to and taught Sunday school. Of course, my little Barry and my husband Augustus are both buried in the graveyard. This church has been my rock. I have fundraised and I have tithed. Preacher, you say AIDS is God's wrath and his judgment. You give us Bible verses to back up that claim. See, I've been praying and meditating on what it means to be a godly woman, a truly good woman. When I was little, there was polio, and people had so much fear around that disease. Mama wouldn't let us near a swimming pool for fear we would catch it. There was no cure, but there was love and faith. We did not turn our backs on them and leave them to die in agony. You say it is God's wrath and his judgment. Well, I'm just one woman, and I've not been to college. But I read the story of Christ as forgiveness, acceptance, and love. Jesus knows we are all sinners. But if he were here today among us, I believe he would go to these young men that are infected and he would touch them, bless them, and forgive them. So, preacher, I think maybe you are wrong. Maybe AIDS has come not as a curse on them, but as a test of our Christian charity. That is what I think. My Timothy is gay. I lost my youngest boy to cancer. I'll not lose my oldest son to meanness. So I'm leaving this church, and I am not coming back until we leave off of this hatefulness and turn back to love.
Dear Michael, so glad to get your letter, but I'm heartsick to hear that Nathan has full-blown AIDS. What is happening to our world? I'm sorry about the rudeness of hospital staff. Tell Nathan he will not end up on the street. If or when the hospital turns him out, we will find him a place. This no phone calls rule at my leadership retreat is harsh. I ache for you, to kiss you, to hold you. You're right. Our love has kept us alive. As crazy as it sounds, I look forward to growing old with you because there are way too many of us dying young. Thank God we found each other at Tech. Can't wait to see the new puppies. See you at the train station on the 26th. Please thank Christian, Doug, Jeff, Guy, Randall, and Stephen for helping out while I'm away. Love, Tim.
Dear Clay, enclosed, please find my signed copy of the final divorce decree. Thanks for holding my hand through this process, being the grown-up in the room, and generally making Glenn behave. He yells because he can't cry. He's always had a temper. I have been mulling over your advice to divorcees and widows. What first seems like a loss becomes, over time, an opportunity for something good. I can't see it that way right now. Right now, I just need to get away. So, I'm leaving next week on a slow boat to China. Maybe when I return, I will take you up on the invitation to dinner. You are a true gentleman. Your Charlotte was a very lucky woman. Regards, Deborah.
Dear Timmy, I don't know if you will open this letter or not, but I wanted you to know that I love you and I miss you. Me and Sparkle are coming to see you and Michael. My sisters think that I am foolish over this cat, but if I don't bring Sparkle, I'm afraid they'll let him out and he'll get lost or worse. I reckon I am stupid over my cat. This past year and a half has been awful for me without your daddy, but made so much worse because I didn't have you. Daddy is in a better place, I know that, and he is out of his pain. He visits me sometimes, and he's helped me come to this decision. Although we haven't talked, I've thought about you every day. I've prayed hard. It took me a while, but I've considered all of that you sent me with about the Bible translations. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8 through 11 really rang out in my head. Ooh, that unspoke to me because you are a man of peace. I want you to know that I've left Kenansville Baptist, at least until they get rid of this yelling preacher. I had been reading that passage from Peter, and the preacher started up with that, what you call railing. And I was called down to testify. I told the whole church that I could not stand by anymore and hear hateful sermons against gays because my own son is gay. I got to thinking, maybe AIDS is not a curse, but a contrariwise blessing, teaching us all about love. I told him as much. It was real scary to do it, I won't lie. But ever since I did it, I feel lighter. I have to put up some pickles and do some freezing. I've had a bumper crop of squash this year. Aunt Bertie is going to take care of my flowers and the mail, so quick as I can get my chores done, I am loading up Daddy's Cadillac, and I am coming down there to Atlanta to see you and Michael. You know, Uncle Dixon passed last year, and your Aunt Odessa has said that I can come and stay with her. Well, I'm aiming to stay there and help Odessa until I bring you around. I wanted to give you fair warning, but by the time you get this letter, I'll probably be there. I'm thinking it'll be Sunday evening. I hope you won't turn me out. Love, Mama. Oh, P.S. I am bringing you lots of food and stacks of papers where Miss Valley Oxley still writes about you. Folks make fun of her for being so high-toned, but if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have known about your new job.
You can do this. Dear friends, as some of you may know, I lost my beloved son, Chris, to AIDS 2 years ago. I want to make a memorial panel for the AIDS quilt that bears his name. Chris spent the last few years of his life working for a cure. This seems like a fitting tribute and the best way to honor his memory. Enclosed, please find a red heart if you write a memory or a quote about Chris or attach a photo. I'll include it in our Hearts Full of Love quilt panel for Chris. Please use the enclosed self-addressed stamped envelope. Thank you for being his friend and for your memories. Please share this letter with anyone who might have known Chris. Many thanks. Sincerely, Chris's mother, Deborah Harrison.
Hello, Timothy. Robin Stanley here. Good news. I have 3 more volunteers for the Hospital Association. All 3 of these ladies came down to Crawford Long and did an orientation. One is my friend, Deborah. She's just gone through a divorce. She's loaded. I'm talking Harrison construction loaded. Ms. Deborah volunteered to do hospice work and specified working with AIDS patients. If we don't talk before then, happy Thanksgiving.
Timothy Davidson, Atlanta Hospital Association. Oh, hey, babe. You home? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize it was this late. Yeah, I got to get this proposal done, this grant proposal. What in the world's wrong with the dogs? Hello? Everything all right? What? You're kidding. She is? With Sparkle. Well, what letter? I didn't read. Tell her, no. She cannot come in. No, I don't want to see her, okay? Call me when she's gone.
Dear Mrs. Harrison, here's a memory for you. A Xerox copy of the letter in your handwriting.
The letter cutting him out of your life. The letter that broke his heart. This does not die with Chris. How dare you, now that he's gone, play the grieving mother? You only want to remember what you like, the baby, the boy. You have no desire to know the man. You ask for memories. I have them. He gave me everything, including your awful letter. At the time, I was confused. Why would he give your letter to me? I realize now it was so painful. He couldn't bear to keep it. He needed a witness to his pain. Here's your memory. Take back his heart, cut in half, attached to your letter. Because that is what your letter did. It cut his heart in half. He grieved you. It's your turn. You missed the last 3 years in the life of a prince. If you want anything else, other memories, and I have it all. Photos, theater programs from his shows, antiques from his apartment. You come to the quilt office, walk through our door, see where he worked, accept who he really was. If you can do that, I will give you everything I have of Chris's, because I hear Chris telling me to give you another chance, though I don't think you deserve it. Gert.
September 30th, 1991. What a pleasure it was to finally meet you in person. Your reputation preceded you. Our mutual friend Robin told me what a dynamic woman you are. You did not disappoint. Thank you for a lovely lunch. I've always heard about the Polaris, but I had never been there. Spending the afternoon, spinning in a circle with you and hearing about your life and travels was a treat. I was thinking as we revolved that you and Atlanta are alike. The embodiment of the South, old and new, unafraid to acknowledge past mistakes, but looking forward to a shining future. I could almost see change as we turned. Thank you for sharing with me the loss of your son, Chris. It's not an easy story for you to tell, but I felt privileged that you would share it with me. Your hospice work is a place for grace. We're all striving for peace and grace. I wish you peace. Thank you for your service as a volunteer and for your interest in our work. We could not survive without dedicated volunteers like you. Sincerely, Timothy Davidson, President, Atlanta Hospital Association.
You are an impressive young man. I'm amazed to see someone as young as you is so focused on caring for the old and sick. I have to admit, it was bittersweet to meet you. When you spoke of your work and of your home life with your partner, my mind kept flashing to what Chris's life could have been. Robin mentioned that funds are running low. Your work is so important. Surely you qualify for some grants. Can't you get some governmental support? Keep up the good work.
Thank you for your note. Unfortunately, the demand for hospice beds in Greater Atlanta far outstrips our capacity. We are overwhelmed. Sometimes I feel like I'm holding my finger in the dike. So many people need help. We do receive some federal and state monies, but across the board, cuts have deeply affected us. We're on the front line struggling to find enough beds each day. We still have a great deal of education to do. Sadly, many terminal AIDS patients are dealing not only with their disease, but also with the stigma and prejudice surrounding an AIDS diagnosis. We are currently looking for angel donors to create and staff a new hospice wing devoted to HIV/AIDS patients. Could you help us find sponsors? Normally, there's a long dance between our organization and donors, but I thought, perhaps given your story, you'd be someone we could count on for support. Unfortunately, many of our steadfast hospital donors are reluctant to allocate funds for AIDS patients. It's hard not to get discouraged, Would you be willing to set up your Rolodex and help us continue this work?
I am interested in helping. However, I am not in a place financially to help you at present. The truth is, Glenn controls my purse strings. We aren't on good terms right now, and I am reluctant to reach out to our friends for fear of embarrassing or angering Glenn. I hope you understand my delicate position. Hello? Oh, hello, Glenn. Well, I've been volunteering at the hospital. No, they have not. Oh, it's always money with you. They haven't asked me for a dime. Do you? Mm-hmm. Well, I'll keep it in mind. Goodbye, Glenn. Hi, Timothy. It's Deborah. Success! We have a private dining room at the Druid Hills Country Club for a 1 o'clock luncheon Thursday, May 21st, the year of our Lord, 1992. Oh, it took some time. It took some doing, but I have corralled some folks who owe me. Be there. No excuses. I'm sorry it took this long, but we are on the verge of big money. Keep the faith. Bye-bye.
Thank you for all the encouragement and the introductions. Something good has already come out of the lunch at Druid Hills. You were amazing and so right about rich folks wanting to see their names on things. Michael and I would like to invite you to our place for brunch next Sunday to say thank you. It's casual. If weather holds, we'll eat on the deck.
Thank you for the lovely brunch. Michael is a keeper. He can cook and do woodworking. That staircase is amazing. If he is missing, just know that I have come in the night and kidnapped him, and you won't get him back until my lake house is redone. Don't be upset with Michael for sharing with me about your mother. What a story. She's got some tenacity. And I have to say, I envy her. I think you should hear her out. Take it from a lady with a suitcase full of regrets. Make amends while you can. Life is short, my friend. Your mom may not be perfect. None of us are. But she keeps on showing up, and that says a lot. My darling daddy used to tell me, showing up is half the battle. So forgive my meddling, but you have a good life and a lovely home with someone who loves you. Be the bigger person and let her in. It's not too late. At least read her letter. Signed, your bossy friend Deborah, who should mind her own damn business.
Though we haven't talked, I've thought about you every day. Took me a while, but I've considered all of the verses you sent me. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8 through 11. That one spoke to me because you are a man of peace, at least until they get rid of this yelling preacher. I was called to testify. I told the whole church that I could not stand by anymore and hear hateful sermons against gays because my own son is gay. Hi, Deborah. Got your note. You can't have Michael, but thank you for the advice about Mom. You'd be pleased to know that Michael has organized what he is calling the Camp David Son, Mother Son Peace Accords. Wish us luck.
Dear Kimmy, I miss y'all already. You've certainly got your hands full with those dogs. They are adorable. I had the biggest time nursing with them. Tickled me to death that Michael did not know about nursing and him being such a dog lover. Cooking with Michael and showing him how to do chicken and pastry was really special. I hadn't made it in a long, long time. I reckon it was too sad for me because it was Daddy's favorite. It just felt right that I would teach it to Michael. Made me feel useful after he'd worked so hard on my floor. He'll make a pretty good cook, and it eases my mind that he has learned how to make your and Daddy's favorite dish so well, because I'm not getting any younger. It felt like old times to do all of that cooking with Michael. Reminded me of when Beth and Mary, Bertie and Shorty and me would be cooking up a storm back in the day. I am so tickled with my new floor. Oh, the quilt pattern is just beautiful. The way all the different colors of wood come together. And I really love that we found a pattern we could all agree on. Now, anybody that comes over, I march them right back here to my kitchen to show them my quilt pattern floor. I hope I'm not being too house proud, but it sure is pretty. To thank Michael for all of his hard work, I'm putting in a few of my best recipes. Now, since he likes tart, he will love the rhubarb one. Son, you've done a good job keeping the starter for Daddy's secret barbecue sauce going. That would really tickle him. Since you will enjoy barbecuing, I'm putting in my slaw recipe for Michael. It'll be easy for him. Sparkle is meowing, so I better sign off and pay him some mind. Oh, give Michael a hug for me and thank him for taking care of you. It's so cute how he calls everybody initials. Tell him M says, hey, and I'm proud to be the M in his alphabet. Love, Mama.
Timothy Davidson, Atlanta Hospital Association. Pam? Wow, well, this is a surprise. What? How? A stroke? Well, exactly when were you going to tell me? Can she speak? Oh, we just had just such a great... Yes, of course I am bringing Michael. He and Mom are... You know what? I'll get on the road as soon as possible. All right, can you hear me in the back? All right, good. Good. So 2 years ago, my mother, Myrtle, suffered a debilitating stroke. And since I know our Atlanta hospitals to be the best, I did not hesitate to bring my mother from rural North Carolina to Atlanta. Intellectually, I knew I was making a smart decision, but what I learned from you, her caregivers, far surpassed anything I learned in college. Hospice work is more than a job. It is a calling. Mom's decline was pretty rapid. Her hospice workers, many of whom are in this room today, were truly astounding. I mean, you taught me how to let my mom go with grace. Mama was a devout Christian. She believed in heaven. She believed in angels. I hope I will see her again. Many of us aren't able or willing to be with our loved ones when they leave this life. With amazing grace, you are there. The work you do borders on the divine. Thank you for being there for the sick and the dying, for being everyday angels. Mama is surely holding a special place in heaven for each of you. Last year was a really tough one for me personally. I lost my mother, and professionally, it looked like we might have to close our doors. I was losing my faith. A very special friend of mine turned her own grief into something positive. Through her courage and her generosity, the Atlanta Hospital Association has created a tangible way to thank you, our angels here on earth in this lifetime, for the heroic work you do. Starting January 1st, 1995, not only will there be a dedicated HIV/AIDS hospice wing, but every single hospice worker, LVN, LPN, and direct care staff will receive sick pay, paid family leave, vacation days, and most importantly, health care through our system for you and your family members. Deborah, Marta said it was okay to come on in.
Yes, of course. Thanks for coming. It is silly of me really to ask you, but when you offered to drive me to the hospital gala, it's just I've put this off and off. You know, I completed it 2 years ago, but I couldn't let go. I just didn't want to do this alone. And Glenn and Julie will just fall apart. And Chris was such a happy guy. I didn't want this to be a sad occasion. If I have learned anything from, what is it now, 3 years of doing hospice work, it is the soul does not die. Something good, some energy, some part of the spirit survives.
I think so too. And with my mom now, I know so.
Okay. I'm ready. Could you do the tape?
What about the letter?
Oh, it's in the box. It's in there.
You're not going to read it to me?
Well, it's already sealed. It took me forever to write the letter, almost longer than making the panel. It's in the box with a big check from Glenn. Well, I did make a copy of the letter for Julie. June 11th, 1995. Dear Names Project, this quilt is an amalgam of all the stages of my son Chris's life. He was an actor, so there are photos and programs from plays at different theaters in Atlanta where he was born and raised and began acting, and lots from San Francisco where he worked and where he died. It took me a long time to know and accept all the facets of my son's life. As a child and as a very young man, we were very close. You can see from the photos he was very handsome, laughing and smiling all the time. He could totally charm the socks off anyone, especially me. His daddy claims I spoiled him rotten. I plead guilty to that charge. When we found out Chris was gay, and then later when we learned he was sick, I had to face the fact that I didn't really know my only son, the son I professed to love so well. Only now do I realize that I only wanted to know the parts of Chris's life that were comfortable or pleasing to me. It has taken me years to accept him as he was. Though I will never get over losing Chris, assembling this quilt has been a comfort, and it has helped me to better know my son. And I think that we have assembled a fitting tribute to the whole person, the funny, wonderful man, Christopher Glenwood Harrison. The two comedy masks in the middle of the panel are not a mistake. We intentionally chose to forgo the actor's tragedy mask. No frowns for Chris. Only the two smiling masks of comedy, because Chris's favorite parts were in comedies, and he always made us laugh. Chris had the ability to find humor in any situation. He spent the last years of his life working for a cure with you at the Names Project. I did not support him in that work. It was a chasm I could not cross at that time. All I can say is, I know more now than I did then. I was not there for my son at the end of his life, something I deeply regret. Please accept this panel and the enclosed donation in honor of the best son in the world. Chris and I wrote lots of letters when he first moved to San Francisco. In a way, this letter is to him. So I'll sign off as we always did. XXX. 3 kisses. Love, M.
Well done, Mom. Well done. Chris would be proud. Now, if we hustle, I can get this to the good PO at Peachtree Station before they close, and it'll be on its way. And that reminds me. So it's not too stodgy tonight. We've added a little sparkle, a really fun DJ who loves the 70s. Will you do the hustle with me?
Oh, Chris and I used to do all those dances. I'm afraid I've forgotten them.
Nah, a true dancer never forgets.
Oh, thank you so much for watching, for being an incredible audience watching tonight, this beautiful piece of theater, and are thrilled that you could join us. And here we are with our esteemed panel, and our moderator for the evening is going to be Patrick Riley, who is a renowned journalist and pop culture reporter, author, so many things. We have his bio is on our website for you to look at, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'm going to get our conversation started and turn it over to Patrick, who's going to lead the way.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you one more time to the Horizon Theater for its virtual world premiere of Love M. Wasn't that wonderful? Let's just do let's give it a round of applause, because it felt so good and it felt so right and so right now. And for all of our global HIV/AIDS organization partners for World AIDS Day 2020, one more quick shout out to the Black Leadership AIDS Crisis Coalition, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, the world's largest provider of HIV/AIDS services, Rolling Out Media, my Morehouse big brother Munson Steed over there with his wonderful Rolling Out HealthIQ. And you saw their rich and impressive bios at the top of this special production, but let me quickly remind you who they are, so we can get to unpacking this powerful story about mothers, sons, and AIDS activists during the early days of the AIDS crisis. And we want to bring it present to World AIDS Day 2020 as a kickoff to exploring the various issues confronting our community, the array of social detriments that are connected to the increase in new HIV diagnoses. Also, we'll discuss solutions and creative ways to reduce the stigma and shame that continues to plague Black Americans around sexual orientation, gender identity, and HIV. Oh, and since we're streaming on the Horizon Theater website, YouTube, Facebook, and Rolling Out, let us see your questions to get in on the conversation. Our team is standing by and monitoring, and we will try to get in as many of your questions as possible. First up, you just saw him as Timothy, son of Myrtle, but I know him as brother friend, Thurgood Marshall Travers from As the World Turns, Sheriff Troy from Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married and Why Did I Get Married Too, Dr. Will from TV's Meet the Browns, and most recently, we celebrated 5 award-winning seasons with him as the son of Bishop and Lady May, Jacob Greenleaf. Bravo to LAMMAN RUCKER. Hello, young man. Good to see you. We also have renowned LA-based Dr. Shalondra K. Crawford, known as Dr. Sunshine, who we're happy to have because she's often booked. From VH1 to Fox Soul to this conversation, Dr. Crawford's brand of psychotherapy marries with spirituality to aid in the undoing of stigma. Via Black faith, she is raising awareness to the rise of new HIV/AIDS cases in the community, encouraging testing, prevention, and treatment for those directly and indirectly affected. Welcome. Dr. Daniel BLACC, professor of African and African American Studies at, and a product of, one of the Atlanta University Center's amazing historically Black colleges and universities, Clark Atlanta University. He is also an award-winning novelist. His published works including They Tell Me of Home, The Sacred Place, and Listen to the Lambs. Dr. BLACC's newest novel, Don't Cry for Me, has recently been acquired by HarperCollins Publishing. And Daniel DRIFFIN, co-founder of Thrive SS and chair emeritus of the Young Black Gay Men's Leadership Initiative. For the past 10 years, Daniel DRIFFIN has been a patient advocacy and social support network for Black gay men living with HIV. He's also an AUC alum by way of the master's degree in public health he received from Morehouse School of Medicine. Have I established that I'm a Morehouse man yet? The AUC love is there. Shout out again to playwright Clarinda Ross, actress as well, for bringing these characters alive through a prism of truth, complexity, acceptance, and love. We're talking mothers and sons, the dawn of AIDS, our last pandemic. And this gift she is giving us is a time capsule of truth, if you will, as Clarinda grew up in the South, bless her heart, says she knows these characters very well, and she was further inspired by 30 interviews with artists and AIDS activists to write this thought-provoking and beautiful play through letters. So to each of you, welcome. And I want to know what stood out for each of you with the story that Love M sets for us in the context of World AIDS Day 2020. And we'll start with you, LAMMAN, because I'm hoping you will also speak to what drew you to portray Timothy, what drew you to the role, and what did you have to pull from yourself to play Timothy? Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me. Hello, everybody, fellow esteemed panelists, Horizon Theater family, my man Patrick, we go way back, so always good to see you, brother. My AHF family, of course, and all the other countless HIV/AIDS partners and colleagues and coalitions from of my own from around the globe. So always an honor to do this work. Really cool to see everybody rocking the red right now, representing. So for me, man, yeah, this was a treat. I mean, anytime AHF comes a calling, and my man Amara, Kennedy, who we all know also well, and then aligning with Horizon Theater. I mean, this is the epitome of who I am and what I do when it comes to artistry and activism, and how they align and how they intertwine and work together to educate and inspire, empower, inform. This is at the core of not just what I do, but why. And I've been involved in HIV and AIDS education and prevention and education and, again, like I said, coalition building, policy, whatever, actually ever since I was a teenager. I've lost countless friends, family, coworkers, industry colleagues and peers. I also have other friends and family members as well, even currently continuing to live very incredibly productive lives as HIV positive citizens as well. I've often been, again, to be honest with you, the only straight brother in countless events, fighting for what's right, regardless of that fact. So I can be in the middle of a conversation or, a fight about, as you said, gender identity and gender equity or what have you. And it makes absolutely no difference to me what anybody's sexual identification is or what they do, between their sheets, or how they love, or how they see love, how they see God, how they see themselves, or what have you. What really matters is us being on the same page when it comes to saving lives and fighting for what's right, regardless of who's looking, regardless of how comfortable or how uncomfortable the conversation is, pushing for testing and information and education. And as you said, breaking down these barriers of stigma and, injustice, and even self-destruction that unfortunately a lot of people are also going through because of so many of these issues. And so Love M was really an interesting exploration of a lot of those different things. And I love the really personal touch that it had with really only, concentrating on two very specific relationships. And what I also believe is throughout my life, I found that most people make the assumption that mothers are always on board, that mommies are always like, oh, baby, it's okay. And I can tell you countless people that I know, men and women, but in particular men who have really struggled with the relationship with their mothers when they came out or choosing to come out. And then it goes beyond just the family dynamic and whether or not daddy is cool with it as well. Then, we deal with the issues at work, the issues in church, community, other relatives, your own siblings, right? So Timothy's struggling and working through a lot. So I love the way this really personalized, humanized, familiarized, a lot of these topics and issues. And I've seen a lot of this happen and play out, like I said, throughout the lives of many of the people that I know and love and respect, or who I've studied or observed. And so it was really wonderful to kind of take the opportunity to speak their truth for them, as I try to do as a storyteller and as an actor and activist. And, just give some real flesh and blood to this kind of relationship and to these circumstances. And I think Clarinda did a really wonderful job as did the entire crew, bringing this story to life. So, it was a lot of fun, and like I said, insightful always, even for me. So what I love about this is, selfishly, this continues my education. This continues my empowerment. This continues my, staying informed and uplifted, and and on the right path, when I know I'm aligned with people who are at the forefront of this work and of this fight and of this righteousness. So honored to be a part of it. It was a lot of fun. I didn't get a chance to see it, so I hope it came together nicely.
It was perfect, and I'm so happy that you referenced, being straight and sort of being an ally for the LGBTQIA community.
Yeah, man, my brothers are my brothers and my sisters are my sisters. I could give a damn. Like, let's, I got your back, man.
Well, I think as the new conversation goes, it's role modeling, having allies like you who are willing to be top billing on an effort like this that is really unpacking the stigma. It's perfection. So really the charm of who the character Timothy was really enhanced because you were playing. And in our industries, the gays we want our part. We want to play our own part. It was important. It was very important in this moment that you play this part. So I
appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I apologize to any of the, gay brothers out there that feel like they should have got cast instead,
Well, it's my partner Anthony's and my 15th anniversary today.
Oh, wow. Really? Tell my man Anthony I said what's up, man.
I will. And I was
congratulations.
As I looked at the play earlier, because I got an earlier screener, I said, I see a part for you, because he's an actor too. He does acting as well. I said,
that's right.
Your part.
That's right.
Your part.
That's right. That's again, what I love about stuff like this is this isn't the last time we should see this play. Yeah. This isn't the last time we should see other variations and other things that were inspired by this play. So I think that's the whole point. So anybody who wants to be Timothy, yes, I want to see you do Timothy next too. Take this, produce it, on your own, make it happen again, virtually, as we've already modeled and demonstrated, or produce it in your own city, your own town, your own church, your own company, your own corporation, your own living room, your own regional, local theater company, or what have you. So, did I lose you guys? That was weird.
Something did happen for a moment.
Yeah, that was weird. But anyway, wherever it is, continue to, let Love live and expand. And I would love to see other interpretations from a director's perspective, and even other character interpretations. I think that's the beauty of what we do.
Absolutely, that's the beauty. Thank you for leading that charge. I want to get to Dr. Shalonda Crawford with the work that you're doing on the West Coast. Is it the best coast, Dr. Shalonda?
I don't really know how to do it.
How do you do it? How do you do it?
I think it's this. I think.
Yeah, there you go.
But see, that looks like East to me. So you got to do it.
I'm from the Midwest, so
you got to do it the right way. You got to use the other hand.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's all love, but I'd love to know from you, because so much of what you do, Dr. Shalonda,
Midwest represent.
Is that it? It's the faith-based sphere in which you work to destigmatize AIDS, HIV, and all that it has been for these many, many, many years.
Right.
Can you talk about what stuck out for you with Love M, and as the conversation goes, what sticks out for you?
Well, there are two very important constructs that stood out for me, and I'll just take a quick minute to identify what they are and then how they can connect to the church as I see it. The first is the importance of tolerance and acceptance. I think it's really, really important. But the second one, I think maybe even more important, and it's how to accept not being accepted. And it's difficult, but it's oftentimes a powerful construct to have to sink in and settle with. As LAMMAN explained, and it even came out with his character, a lot of people who are not accepted sometimes turn towards self-destructive ways of coping because they can't deal or accept not being accepted. And, you know, if we were to just kind of fold that back around to the church, you know, the Bible is a book of principles, and there are a lot of things in the Bible. Honestly, if we're going to go by the word, then we're all guilty of some things, everyone, all of us. So I think as a church, we have to be more tolerant and more accepting of people who are not perfect, and, you know, help to love and embrace, and let love be the thing, as you're stating. Let love be the thing, and we can together work on tolerance and acceptance, and more importantly, to accept that not everybody gonna accept us. I mean, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I have learned to accept those that accept me, and embrace those people that embrace me, because love is there, and I'm going to where my love and my light is for me.
And also, thank you for that. I think storytelling as a reflection of truth is important to get these messages out there that, for example, some of the mothers aren't necessarily on board. The Black mothers aren't on board. The Black fathers, I have an 86-year-old father, retired Chief Master Sergeant from the United States Air Force. He's been nothing but a forming and loving. In fact, he says, Patrick's ambitions have always been felt since he was a little boy. You know, I love that. Isn't that's a classy man. Dr. Daniel BLACC, I would love to hear from you with what you do in your work in African and African American studies, working at the historically Black college and university du jour. I mean, everybody's talking about CAU. Isn't CAU like on the map all of a sudden in a big way? Tell me what stuck out for you with this, because I think the dichotomy of white mom and white son, Black mom, Black son, and the it wasn't predictable what each character and how each character navigated this concern. Talk to us about what stood out for you.
Absolutely. First of all, thank y'all for having me. I'm just absolutely honored to be here, to be among such esteemed folks. And y'all, our red looks good. That red is hot. So I'm really,
get a shot.
Yes, that's right. I'm excited about it. And I have to admit, I have pages of notes here that I took as I was watching this play. But there are just a couple of things that really stood out that I think are really important. One of those is I think we need a revolution in terminology. I still think we're using the terminology of bondage as we talk about this subject. Even terms like straight, I want us to stop saying that. I think we need to come, because see, straight implies correct. You know, when you're on the straight and narrow, that's the right way. So to say that someone is straight indirectly suggests that their life is the correct life, right? And so I think it's very important for us to stop calling heterosexual people straight.
So now, do you have a new name? Do you have another name?
Yes, I think heterosexual people should be called non-homosexuals.
Okay,
that's right. That's right.
See, it depends on who you privilege.
That's right.
Right? And it depends on who you imagine, right, as being potentially divine. See, whoever you put in the center, everyone else gets to be the othered, right? And so I think we need to get rid of terms, but I also think that we need to get rid of terms like tolerance. See, tolerance suggests that the person speaking is in the position to actually lend unto the other, right, the other person's presence. That actually it's a gift to be tolerated by someone else. It's really insulting, right? I think tolerance, I think all of those terms are problematic for me, right? And it suggests that to be tolerated by someone else is in fact somehow a gift. It's somehow an achievement, right? And so I think we need a revolution in these terms, right? The second thing that I wanted to point out that I think is really important, I love how my brother, LAMMAN, is it LAMMAN, right, brother? Am I saying it right? LAMMAN. And brother, I think you did an awesome job.
I appreciate it.
And I love how you made Timothy intimate, but not stereotypical. I think that was beautifully done.
I appreciate that.
But also, I think it's wonderful that you played the role. The part I think that's problematic in America is that we cannot imagine gay actors playing heterosexual roles. See, why couldn't Billy Porter be the lead in Fences?
Right.
See, almost nobody conceives of that, right? Because
well, I guess that's a systemic thing, no different
that's right.
than systemic racism.
That's exactly
yeah.
right. That's exactly right. It's a systemic thing. Exactly right. To believe that a person who is gay, that the entirety of their identity, right, is bound by that reality, right? And which doesn't mean there's something wrong with being gay. No, it simply means being gay is simply part of their manifestation, not the totality thereof, right? And the last thing I'll say very quickly is, one of the things I thought was interesting in this play is how the Black mother initially was willing to give up her son completely for the possibility of staying with Jesus. Like there's an undercurrent of white supremacy in this play for me. Whereas this Black boy, whereas this white boy, Chris, he always believed he was divine and wonderful, even though his parents didn't accept him. It's as if his whiteness always covered him in terms of his self-worth. Although with Timothy, his self-worth was always something he was fighting for, right? And so I thought that was just a really interesting kind of, I think it's true too in many ways, right? But I think there's a way in which, even through the AIDS crisis, I think there's a way in which whiteness always gets to be divine. But if one is gay, one has these battles, right, in terms of sexuality. However, if you're Black, Blackness is already considered demonic and problematic culturally. So to be Black and gay, right?
It's a double whammy, huh?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right.
It's a different kind of demonization, right?
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, and I'm not gonna use up all my time, quite frankly, the other thing I thought was interesting was how the mothers were protecting the fathers.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I think there isn't that sort of the trope, the mother says, I hope you're not going to tell your father about it. It'll break his heart. I hope you're not. Right. I had a family member who said, I hope you don't think I'm telling anybody, because I said, well, that's okay. I'll tell them, know.
Or a very generational thing with some older men, which again is fairly stereotypical, but at the same time, also I do think a fair generalization at some times and in some ways with, how the father, even from a distance, even for his own emotional protection, doesn't always necessarily have the same skills of communication or articulation. So he's speaking through the mother passively with what he does do, what he doesn't do, or whatever. Right. It's just kind of like, what, I don't know how to do that, so you do that. Where she takes it upon herself to speak for him, sometimes not even giving the man the opportunity to actually speak for himself.
She doesn't give him the chance to show up. And I thought the way that you had your moment with the father on the deathbed explored that truth, because the mother didn't want to believe it, right? She still didn't want to believe it.
That's right. There's no way he did that.
How could he be accepting? How could he be affirming? No, I've been protecting him all this time. You didn't give him a chance to. I always say, I let my family see what love looks like on me. If you let them see it, but you got to let them see it, because otherwise
but we also have to be honest, y'all. I feel like we have to be honest. There's a way that the fathers don't want to be seen. There's a way the fathers don't want
that's what exactly. That's where I started. I definitely think there's a reality to that, as well.
Well, let's get the baby in. See, Daniel, I called you the baby. You love that. I know you love that. So, Daniel, you do so much great work with young men who are addressing HIV and AIDS. I would love to know how does this play for the young folks? I mean, the AIDS quilt, what came to be in '88. And so for many like you probably don't know what an AIDS quilt is. I did sort of a stick survey asking folks, do you know about it? Some are like, I've heard about it. I mean, even people my age, I'm 50, say, I heard about it kind of, sort of, but I don't know what it is. So we'll talk about the AIDS quilt separate. I want to know what showed up for you with the play.
And again, it gives me pleasure to share space with everyone here, and thank you for the sponsors for this beautiful event. So I definitely have to start off by saying, first, I know what the AIDS quilt is. I look younger than what I am. Okay,
everybody knows.
It's the gray hairs, it's the lighting, So that's why I'm sitting like this. Second, I live in Atlanta. Okay. Like the capital of the South in Georgia. Last year, we had more than 700 people die from HIV or AIDS, okay? So like this play is 2019. This play is 2020, especially as we think about gay, bisexual, and trans-identified women, right, across the Deep South. So it's real. I was fighting tears throughout the play because, you know, it also reminded me of the first time I remember hearing about AIDS, right? And that was walking through the main corridor in my middle school. And I grew up in upstate New York. And that season, I've been a choir boy my whole life. And that season we did Seasons of Love, you know, and we got through Seasons
for those
of
who don't know,
Love
Seasons of Love from the
Rent.
Tony Award winning Rent. Yes.
This about 3 songs in, you know, Will I Lose My Dignity? Always pulls tears, you know, because again, people are still succumbing to HIV and it's unnecessary. You know, we have treatment to stop the progression. We have treatment to prevent infections, you know, but still the messages are not making it to people who need it the most. And again, it goes back to self-love. It goes back to not being able to access, not being able to talk to someone around these conversations, you know? And it's exactly what Dr. Black was saying moments ago. It's throwing the concept of tolerance away. No, you know, it's not, I'm not going to be tolerated. You know, I have divinity within myself, as myself, you know? So it's really changing the conversation and changing the paradigm for not only, you know, folks who hide their age like me, but anyone that we call brother or sister.
So I loved the time capsule of where this play is set and the time that it's set in, because it is information for younger people. It's a reminder for those of us who don't remember maybe the nuances, and then to have the personal testimonial as a thread to the story is just what makes it so rich. Lamman,
Patrick, your volume is oh yeah, somebody else just said the same thing. Your volume's really low, bro.
Low?
Yeah, just all of a sudden, just this last
scheduling
passage of yours, you sounded like really distant. I think Daniel literally just put something in the chat too, so we don't want to.
Hold 1 second.
You might just have to project. Let's pull that actor and vocalist out in you right now. You gotta. You might have to get a little bit more theatrical, bro.
Yeah. So can you see me and can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would love for you to talk about what you knew of the AIDS quilt, as it was kind of from an era that we came up in. And what do you make of sort of reminding folks through this art about this movement and how that maybe could connect to new movements, new connectors that can bring folks together on awareness around AIDS and HIV and just this overall humanity around something that has been plaguing us for what, 40 plus years?
Yeah, I remember, similar to Daniel, I remember some of my earliest, you know, kind of introductions or awarenesses. And then I had other revelations much later in my life where I was like, wait a minute, is that what really happened to Uncle so-and-so? You know what I mean? And even is that what happened to so-and-so's dad? Or, you know, it was also the other, for lack of a better word, variations, or, you know, similar to what Brother Black is saying. It's like the other things that were supposedly so abnormal to what was supposed to be. You know, there was always like, oh, if you died of AIDS, then you must have, you definitely are this type of person, or you had to come from this specific kind of community, or there had to be this specific kind of behavior that would be associated with that predicament. You know, again, all this, the language and these implications and this labeling. And I remember some of that very, very vividly. And I remember being very young, and like, there's just something about it that was just kind of like, this shit ain't making no sense, you know? And
Well,
not
right,
only
because,
is it not,
and Lamont, isn't that in part because there wasn't sort of an open communication about it?
yeah, but that's full of, yeah, that's true too. But the reason why it wasn't making any sense is because people weren't making any sense. They didn't want to make sense of it. They were fighting against it, pushing against it. Again, the normalcy, whatever this other, you know, these things that are supposed to be, again, and I love even being challenged about using the word, you know, straight, even to, you know, the way I did. That's exactly it. It's even that level of, even though to a large degree I know better, there's still that that ignorance that we can all be kind of guilty of, because what is considered to be normal or the right way or the more popular way, or the what, you know, this assumption that the majority does this and those that aren't of the majority are the other, you know, as opposed to, again, yeah, what if we flip that and like, all y'all that think you normal, you the fucking crazy ones, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Y'all the ones who don't, you know, don't really have your act together. You the ones who don't know nothing. You're the ones who actually need to be educated and informed and brought up to speed. We're okay. We know what we're doing. We know who we are, that kind of thing. So I found myself in the middle of these conversations, both as a young Black boy, period, as a young artist, as somebody who had, like I said, throes of people around him that that I realized were, you know, gay, lesbian, homosexual, and all the other, you know, ways that even people within those communities were identifying themselves. And then it kept changing. I mean, I know
And
folks that
expanding.
argue about it themselves. So there was just so much happening. And I remember the first time I saw the quilt, I was at the Washington Monument at the Smithsonian. I saw this thing. It was humongous. But it was so powerful. It was a really, it was a very moving moment. And then throughout the work that I've done over the years, and pardon my language, everybody, the work that I've done throughout the years in various parts of the country or the world, you know, it was really cool to have certain segments of the quilt, you know, because the whole thing can't travel, you know, everywhere. So, you know, you just got a certain number of panels, or I've been there when people were actually constructing and designing new panels that were then going to be added to, you know, like whatever the main massive, you know, quilt was. And it was just like so phenomenal to actually be witnessing and be completely engulfed and engrossed in the work, in the movement, to see it happening all around you. Yeah, there was occasional heartbreak, but more importantly, I saw the resilience, I saw the beauty, I saw the intelligence, I saw the self-determination, I saw the science, I saw, you know, the technology evolving, like I said, the language, the terminology, again, I've worked throughout, you know, various ministries and trying to even get churches on board. And then there's other churches that they're at the absolute forefront of this conversation, more so than maybe any other organization in certain areas and certain markets. I've been in the tiniest of cities who are as progressive as you can imagine, and I've been in the tiniest of cities who might as well be on another planet. I've been in major metropolis cities that you would think would, you know, be again at the forefront of the fight, and at the same time where you're like, what do you mean there's no funding? What do you mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's been really powerful, whether it's age walks, whether it's testing initiatives, whatever it is, to be very hands-on, to have seen this quilt, touch this quilt, know where it comes from, know how personal and real these stories are, to have met people and their families directly connected to it. So that's what was cool about this piece as well, is that when you really see, you know, Chris, you know, and some of the other families, and that you see like, hey, there's an actual, like, this is his story and it now lives. And then Timothy ends up being on the other side, not on the other side of that work, but in a different position in that story. And then how these two stories kind of align with one another. So again, to even see that partnership and that community building and understanding that, hey, we're all in this together, regardless of where we are, what we look like, what part of the country or world we're in, and what have you. So it's been an incredible, incredible journey to really witness so much of this for myself from a very young age, probably middle school myself, Daniel, for real. You know what I mean?
Now that's a perfect tie-in for one of our audience questions, which is really, and this is, we're getting into it because this is such a great example of a call to action and how folks mobilized and what that call to action did to thaw out those who weren't quite ready to tolerate, but then maybe when it was too late, they were able to jump on board, much like Kalinda's character. I wanted to get everybody to weigh in on calls to action. And in fact, I want to give you the exact question from our audience. What is the call to action that we as viewers should take away from this powerful piece? And I'm going to go back to you, Dr. Shalonda, to talk about calls to action. And I want everybody to think about solutions and ways in which we can use this art and this information to forward the conversation, which is the work that we all do. Dr. Shalonda?
Thank you so much. I think one of the major steps that we need to take and embrace as, a whole is openness. I think we have to be open to hear, to learn, to understand. We need to be flexible in our thinking, and we need to be able to see people as people. And sometimes we get lost in our own, upbringing and the ideas and principles that were instilled. And then you get in there and you find out that people are just people. But we need to be open to humanizing all people. And we also need to be open for learning. A good example is, hey, I'm learning tonight on this line. I've used tolerance and acceptance up till now. I don't have a better word in this moment, but yeah, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I don't want to be in the presence of people who are tolerating me. So I can appreciate even the idea that that can be an offensive term. So I think stepping out of the gate, we have to be open for change, other opinions, other thought processes, other points of view. And
new language, new words.
That is not offensive. With the state of the nation, I have been more offended in the past since this pandemic hit than I think I have my whole life. And I'm used to being the only Black child in the classroom, but it's really hitting hard these last, 4 years, but few months to be more specific. And I just think, if we can be more open, we can drive down fear, and then we can move towards being a little more level and human with one another. That's really where that's the compassion kicks in there.
I love that.
Love is in the ability to be our genuine whole selves when we walk out of our front doors and face the world. That kind of embrace, and I want to use the word acceptance. I'm trying really, 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 really hard, Mr. Dr. Black, not to do, but we want to be accepted for who we genuinely are without having to put on a mask, without having to be someone else. We want to go for roles and get the role because we can pull it off, not because of what we believe or,
That's it. Dr. Black, let's get a call to action or a solution, a thought on how we can take some steps forward here in 2020. And can we get to 2021? Okay.
Right. First of all, I agree with my dear sister Shalonda, absolutely, in terms of openness. Sister, I think that is absolutely right. Because we can't do anything if we can't hear each other. So I agree with that, absolutely. A call to action, there are two things I'd say in terms of call to action. One of those things that I would say is, let's stop going to churches that demean people. Meaning literally, if churches do not embrace, and that's the term I think I would use instead of tolerate. If churches do not embrace all people and all possibilities of life, leave it. Leave it. The notion of simply just going on and on and on with the program has been 50 years now. Leave it. Like, if folks won't embrace every person and every possibility of a person, whether you agree or not, because what Shalonda's saying true, and that is just because somebody's heterosexual doesn't mean other folks agree with you either. So the notion that you get the option to disagree with someone else's life is the assumption that you sit on the throne. Right? And so I would absolutely urge us, this Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, all of this old foolishness, churches that espouse this, shut them down, leave them.
Now, Dr. Black, I appreciate that call to action specifically for the church, because I think that is definitely a cross to bear for many of us, right? But what about family?
Family too, yes.
Talk about it.
And that is one of the things in families I think that would help us is I would love for us collectively as families to also not believe that getting to a place where we can tell a brother or sister, listen, if you gay, I don't care. That is not an achievement, because you got to be gay and I do care. Because caring means that I'm looking for the divinity in your gayness instead of I'm just trying, I won't hurt you because you gay. That's one level. No, the next level is I'm looking for how God shows up in queerness. See,
now,
as I'm saying, families have to do that too. Just like we're looking at how God shows up in heteronormativity. We've got to look for how God shows up in queerness also.
Something that Timothy, the character role modeled, I thought that was really great is as his mom was feeding him the scriptures, there was always that beat that you took, that the character took to debate lovingly, compassionately, to sort of understand the position and then offer the new information.
Right.
And up until you had it, right, and then you had to abandon it. And I thought, that the role modeling of that is almost something that should be inherited by, the other side of this equation, where we're all kind of enthusiastically compassionate about getting the other person's perspective. Do you know what I mean? And being thoughtful in communicating that.
Sure, but the other problem with that is that we want to, as a culture, and I think as a nation, we also want to move away from thinking that the Bible is the only source of righteousness for a culture, not just the church, for the culture, period. Yeah. Because remember, this is the same Bible that says slaves obey your masters as we were running away.
Absolutely, yes.
So the notion that we get the right and in fact get the responsibility to recircumscribe and to re-understand what the Bible is saying, right, as per our own liberty. Not only should we do it, but we must do it, because if not, we'll agree to certain oppressions thinking that that's what God prefers.
So Daniel, you referenced this period piece, quote unquote, as it could be 2019, 2020. What are some of the ways in which you're finding connection around solutions, given that it doesn't look like we have come that long away, baby?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to, the three messages that we've always shared in any pandemic that, we've entered. I think for me, the call to action is really spreading the word that HIV is still real, okay? Individuals still learn that they are living with HIV every day of the week. So we have to find better ways to getting testing opportunities in everyone's neighborhood, Yes. Like you can buy a pregnancy test at the dollar store for $1. An HIV test is $40 at CVS, Walmart, or your Walgreens, So like first step, right? Getting tested like equitable across the board. Yes. I think part two is treatment works, and treatment works regardless if you're living with HIV and if you're negative, And I think the third thing is you're not alone. So you're not alone as a negative person who wants to navigate these waters, and you're also not alone as a person living with HIV. As a person also living with HIV for more than 12 years now, me and two other folks created an organization to bring other men together, right? And I've created other organizations to create community, to move people who look like me to a new solution.
Would you do a quick shout out to your organizations, just so that folks know and are reminded? I know it's in the bio.
Absolutely. You can visit us at thrivess.com. Thrive stands for Transforming HIV Resentment into Victory Everlasting Support Services. So like in our name itself, it shows that you are worth love, okay? And you are more than any resentment that you can ever face, you know? So again, it's just being able to change the paradigm and reiterate love at every step of the way because people are worth it.
So Team Horizon AHF, I see that we have 2 questions from Facebook. Is that right? Or are they comments? I think there's a great comment here from Facebook. Loving and valuing ourselves is key. Thank you for that. And then I think there's another comment. Cheers. Thank you, LAMMAN RUCKER, Daniel BLACC, Patrick Riley, Daniel DRIFFIN, and Dr. Crawford for sharing your wisdom and insight on how we can bring humanity into community. Ashe, ashe. Okay, here's the other question. Audience question from, what role do mothers or female caregivers have in the development of our young men to be more compassionate, non-hyper-masculine adults? I guess, LAMMAN, how'd you turn out like this?
Well, you know what? And I don't want to, I kind of feel like I'm about to not answer the question, but I would love to, again, I'm also admittedly kind of working with and against the assumption that I stated earlier, is that when it comes to women and boys, that's where I feel like the assumption is that you get that compassion and nurturing and emotional support from the woman, that you get that inherently from your mother, you know, that's not an uncommon thing. Of course, I know that to not be true based on so much of the work that I've done with young people as an educator and family counseling and whatever. I know some people who've got some serious issues with their mother, and mothers who have had some very significant challenges really being the parent that their child really needed, regardless of what gender that child is, or how that child identifies. Sort of which is a whole other dynamic. But the way I would love to respond to that is what I believe really has changed my life and has had the larger impact on me is my father's example of that. And that's a big part of what I've definitely taken a hold of in my life. And I thank God that my father, I continue to kiss my father. I don't remember ever not being kissed by my father, but I know other men and boys that have never even had their father tell them aloud, "I love you." I'd say that to my boys, I love you, bruh, especially as long as I've known you. You know what I'm saying? The love I have for you, the love that I have in all the different layers and forms that love also has, right? And even everybody on this panel, especially based on the work that we're all doing together, I got love for y'all like you never knew, just because, we are kindred spirits in the work that we do as well. But I thank God for the examples of men that I've had and how they've taught me how to love and how they've taught me also to embrace the feminine nature within me. That is actually what really makes me a man. That's what truly makes me a whole man, So when I meet another guy who might have a different balance of his masculine energy and feminine energy, I'm fully embracing of that, because I just know that's just a different balance than the balance that my body has, or that my environment has, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So thank God for not only my father, but beginning with my father, but also the men and cousins and brothers and uncles I know that are like you and Griffin and BLACC and so forth. Thank God for the spectrum of men that I've had who have shown me what love looks like, who've shown me the healthy ways to speak, not only to one another, but to speak to myself. you know, that have shown me what power and strength and a backbone, and show me what gangster looks like, even if he's wearing pink or high heels. Who cares? Like, there's some dudes, I know some dudes, they think they gangster. They ain't like some of the dudes I know who are gangster, whose fingernails are twice the size of mine. That I'll never forget. I've seen guys snatch a woman's shoes and walk in them better than she does. So I've had people demonstrate what's possible and what's not possible, and what's normal and what's not normal. But when it comes to love and what love looks like,
yes,
I thank God that I know that there's more than one way to do that. There's more than one way to say that, more than one way to show up. But that absolutely began with my father, and understanding what nurturing sounds like and feels like, and on an ongoing daily basis as well. And that has absolutely transmitted through the work that I've done as a teacher, as an educator, as a parent, as an artist, as an advocate, as an activist, as a troublemaker, as a disruptor, as you know, somebody who's not afraid to piss people off. But I know how to do that with love. I know how to do that and make sure that it's coming from a pure place, that it's out of respect for the word or someone else's word or perspective, that's out of respect for whatever conventions or age dynamics or authority or what have you. There's still a way to speak the truth and always speak love, no matter where you are, no matter what you're up against. And like I said before, no matter who's looking and whose approval is in the conversation. I could care less about approval. Love always wins, you know?
I love
that's
that
very
answer.
much what my organization is about too. And we chose to kind of align ourselves as artists who use the creative spirit to push forward this message of love and finding your voice, and using your creative spirit to educate, entertain, and empower through the mechanisms and the God-given gifts that you have. So positive Black male image looks like all of the brothers on this panel and countless immeasurable amounts of other men. And we align with beautiful, intelligent, brilliant sisters like Dr. Crawford, and do the work so that, again, we're building not just boys and men, that we're also aligning with our women and girls, you know, with our elders, ancestors, the angels yet to be born, doing work that really matters and that's really impactful, so that people, again, are living in their own light, living their truth, speaking through the gifts and the brilliance that they have, and actualizing the God within them to be their best selves and to empower other people with what we've all been given. And that's what I believe the creative spirit is truthfully, you know, about. So love manifests itself in all those ways. So thank God for my mother. So shout out to my mom. My mother did that too. But that was a foundation I didn't have to be concerned with. But I believe as a boy, what really transformed me was that example from my father and from the other men that have surrounded me.
I think that's beautiful, Lamman. And I know that you have been amplifying Black humanity and Black male humanity with the Black Gents and all that great artistic activist work that you've been doing for so many years that I've been following. So, you know, I speak your name. I speak your name. Dr. Shalonda, that said, what about the moms? What role would you argue mothers should be playing in this? Because I think I would have answered the question exactly as Lamman. My mom was loving, nurturing, but she was also a Southern mom who had concerns. So I was like, Patrick, don't walk like that. Don't carry that bag like that. You know, but it never did break my spirit, because I always felt it as her sort of telling me to be mindful of what's going on out there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it may not be received as well out there. But my dad was more just kind of, you know, be who you are and make that work. So I want to know, but I think the mothers are so important. We need to give some answer to this question.
So I think what I hear you saying is that even though she said, you know, Patrick, don't quite do it like that, you know, what you resonated with were not necessarily the words, but but you were able, I think, to embrace the lesson, because the messenger was unconditionally loving you. And I think step number one is all people, especially children, first need to know that it's okay. It's okay. You can feel however you feel. I love you unconditionally. My job as your caregiver is to help to shape and mold and model for you how to handle those feelings, how to walk out, how to prepare you for the world that you're getting ready to step out in front of. But one, it's okay. And two, I love you unconditionally. And I would like to change. I know the question is specifically mothers, but as a mental health professional, I'm more concerned with the role of the caregiver. That's the role that's most important, whether it's your mother, your father, your nana, the neighbor, whoever you look towards as that caregiving model in your life. Their opinion of you matters. And the more unconditional it is, the more nurturing it is, the more they have an ability to shape and mold and build and uplift and empower as we move out into the world. So that's important to me. Unconditional love that lets you be okay and then models for you how to handle from there.
Over these, yes, go Daniel.
Okay. Yes. I think it's the caregiver, and I think about, especially for LGBT plus youth, oftentimes that caregiver shows up as a teacher or as
a counselor
in a school setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are the important moments that shape individuals, at the earliest stages of determining I am worth, I am okay, I am worthy, So I definitely just think lifting that up is really important for the conversation.
You know what? I can tell you that, I've sat in session with people 50 plus years old, and they can tell me the first and last name of the person when they were 8 that told them, "You're beautiful. You can do it." That is impactful.
Or otherwise.
They'll live their lives in the dirt
is just as profound.
You can't. You're
that
not worthy.
First time you got that foot in your chest, that shapes you.
It's important. It's important. It's the person that I look to.
That break in belonging. So, Dr. Daniel, I know that so many of the elders in my life and in the lives of many I know who struggle with their sexuality, who are, not quite walking in the confidence of who they are, their truth. The elders will speak to those early stigmatizing days of AIDS and HIV, which is, it's like, that's our core concern, baby. Our concern is that you don't, die, too soon, whatever that is. And it feels like a real concern, but it's to some degree not connected to the information. It's not connected to the support and the movement and what's going on. What do you make of those folks in our lives who do have the legitimate concern of HIV AIDS as the reason they're trying to save your soul, quote unquote?
Well, the two things I think I'd say is, number one, you're right. It doesn't really speak to the issue, because more young people have died because they were Black than died because they were gay. Right? But nobody's asking them not to be Black. See, so see, there's a way in which we're really mixing issues. The real issue that I believe and that I understand, having studied who we are in our culture, and the beauty and the trauma, if you will, that sits on most of us as Black people. The real issue is that too many Black people, and as you said, Patrick, Black elders, really believe that we cannot legitimize this gay self before God. That's really the issue. We're really serving a God that we too many Black folks are serving a God that they think hates Blackness and hates gayness. So that's why people keep crying for mercy and grace, because we're serving a God who subconsciously really doesn't like us. And that's a dangerous, dangerous thing. It's a dangerous, dangerous thing to pray to a God who disagrees with your being. And I really honestly believe that that's where we are. This is why you can go into Black sanctuaries and find images of God that looks nothing like the people sitting in the pews. But that's only if the church is Black. And so what I'm really saying is that we've got to have a revolution in divinity. We have to have a revolution in theology. We need a revolution in invisible places so that the God we imagine looks like the God we see when we look in the mirror. And unless and until we get that, we're begging for, so to speak, we're doing respectability politics, not only in earth, but in heaven. We're asking someone, we're even asking God to tolerate us, instead of believing God adores us because God made us. And so I'm saying without that kind of revolution, it's going in a circle, Brother Patrick. It's just going in a circle. And we keep crying and begging for, and the other thing I think that's important is, I think we need to take nurturing away from femininity. Meaning, it asks mothers to do all the work of creating human children. I think that is totally wrong and totally problematic. Number two, subconsciously, it makes many men want to avoid nurturing because nurturing is seen as effeminate. But see, we've got to be and if I can go here, there are even gay men who hate effeminacy.
Well, that's a whole self-hate.
That's
and
right.
all of that.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so we have to, I feel like we have to consciously, as we're doing right now, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing, get to a place whereby when we start looking for nurturing, we don't start looking for women. Yeah. We just start looking for conscious human beings. And I think unless and until we do that, we keep putting the burden of the salvation of the people on women's shoulders.
So folks, we have less than 10 minutes. Obviously, we could talk about this all night long. So what I want to do—
We could talk about this for 50 years.
For 50 more years, right? Why don't we
right.
I want each of you to give a closeout sentiment. But before you give your closeout sentiment, let our viewers know how they can find you, or if there's anything you want to let us know that's coming up that you're working on. Let's make this our final point. And I will start. I'm going to come to you. I'm going to make you last, Lamman, so that you can pop it off and close us out and bookend it perfectly. But I want to go to you, Dr. Shalonda, and I want you to just give us a final word, a final call to action, but also let us know how we can find you.
Openness, acceptance, genuineness. That's where I am. And it's all about perspective. So how you see yourself is oftentimes how you walk out your everyday activities. How no one can outrun your picture of you. That is what my practice is all about. You can find me on my website, lifebrightnow.com, or Instagram, the Dr. Sunshine. January 15th, I think it is, I'm on TEDx Crenshaw Salon. So you can check me out there. I'll have more to say on that platform coming up.
Okay. Daniel.
I think for me, again, it's just reminding people you are not alone. You do not have to suffer whatsoever. You can thrive as a whole individual with HIV or without HIV. I hide in public, so I'm on Twitter, Facebook, what's the other one? The Instagram. And I'm just taking like positive energy in these last 6 days of my first semester in doctoral studies. So all the good energy is accepted to just push me through this journey. So
you're feeling it? Are you feeling it? Are you feeling it?
I'm feeling it. Thank
all
you.
Right. All right. Dr. Daniel? Dr. Daniel, are you there?
I would say two things. Yes. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd say number one, I think it's important for us to say out loud and for people to be clear that being gay is a gift. See, until we say that, we keep trying to figure out how to just endure these people who have this condition. Right? But the minute we say it's a gift, we'll start looking for, why would God do that? Wow, what was God thinking? What was God reaching for, in fact? What was God imagining? What was it God was trying to add to something that was not yet excellent? And see, for me, that I think makes us begin to say, not only is being gay all right, but we actually need LGBT people for some particular reason. And then we'll start searching for what the reason is. I am a professor at Clark Atlanta University. I do a spiritual time, a spiritual hour every Friday on Facebook Live at 6:30. Every Friday, Facebook Live at 6:30. I'm also a novelist. I wrote a book titled Perfect Peace, which features a transgendered Black child in a rural Southern Black community that I think folks would like very much.
Please send me a galley. I need the galley.
I will send it to you. I will send it to you, absolutely. And Dr. Shalonda, Daniel, Lamont, and Patrick, certainly you too. I'm honored to be in the midst of you. I really am. I count it a joy. I count it a joy just to be in the number. Thank y'all.
Now, Lamont, give us some closing words and tell us about the spinoff of Greenleaf.
Well, I'll work backwards. The spinoff of Greenleaf has nothing to do with the Greenleaf family, unfortunately.
Oh.
So, so I don't even, at least not that I know of. So from what I understand, that they've already gone into production on is a piece called Delilah that I'm not sure what its connection to us is, but to my understanding, the major characters in the storyline has nothing to do with the Greenleaf family in Tennessee. But we'll see how they try to connect.
I predict Jacob Greenleaf will make it appear.
Hey, from your lips to God's ears.
And I'll take it.
Yeah, from your lips to God's ears. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how they try to connect maybe the two realities so that Greenleaf kind of merges or gives some kind of way, or they're able to bridge the audiences. But to my understanding, I don't know what the link or the connection is, and ain't nobody called me yet. So I have to my understanding, that door is closed, and that project is ended. I mean, that's just what you learn to accept in this business as well, is that door is closed, that the story has been told the way the storytellers and creators wanted to tell it. And you move on, you move on to the next opportunity.
You don't let the grass grow. So tell us something.
No, sir, not at all. So aside from this, I continue to be active in the theater. Again, the Black Gents actually started as an all Black male ensemble theater company. So we've changed our headquarters to Atlanta, Georgia, where two of my other founding partners, who are actually Morehouse men themselves, are as well. So we've still got our roots in LA, which is where we were founded 10 years ago. We just had our 10-year anniversary. I'm CEO. So we're going to continue to move forward with the work that we do in the theater, but also looking to continue to expand our relationships and partnerships throughout the metropolitan Atlanta area and across the globe, so that we're doing our work in the many different ways that we do it, using the gifts and the skills throughout our, founding partners. And again, the wonderful, community and global partners that we have. Me personally, though, I've got a project about Paul Robeson and Albert Einstein called Albert and Paul that's in development now. Another wonderful piece about adoption and foster care and the challenges of infertility, in particular with families and children in communities of color, called This Love Wins. I've got other scripts in development, one called Traces, that is, again, about father-son dynamics and relationships, multi-generational father-son dynamics. I've got a series called Terror Lake Drive that premiered last week on the Urban Movie Channel. So Terror Lake Drive, look for that. And then I've got a Christmas movie called Cooking Up Christmas that premieres on OWN Tuesday, December 15th. At LAMMAN RUCKER Official on Instagram, at LAMMAN RUCKER across the board otherwise. And again, wherever you see me, hear that I may be, come holla at me and join forces with me, lock arms with me. Thank you so much to Clorinda, to Heidi, Lisa, everybody at Horizon, Amara, all the AHF family, Sister Crawford, Brother Griffin, Brother Black, Brother Riley, and everybody else whose hearts and ears we have in this moment. Thank you. Continue to walk in your light. Do not walk in shame. That is what I really believe is at the core of so much of this work. And when we talk about love, I think the challenges that people have with love is often the self-love, and that comes from the fact that they're living in shame. People are either trying to shame them, or they're working against so many of the institutionalized concepts, principles, and philosophies that are out there that encourage you and sometimes even push you toward a life of shame. And I don't believe anybody deserves that, no matter what mistakes you may have made, and damn sure not by any way that you've been born, whether it's by the color of your skin, or the way that you understand your chemistry or your biology works. Live your truth, shine your light, walk tall, walk proud, and show other people the same respect that you require of them. And there've been such brilliance and such incredible advice and expertise on this panel. I can't wait to learn more about all of you and align with you all as we go forward. So I'll be following you. Daniel, good luck with that, doctorate. And listen out for me. You are a Black gent. Patrick, you're a Black gent. Dr. Black, you're a Black gent. And Dr. Crawford, you're what we call a Black jewel. So when we talk about our sisters, you're the equivalent of people shining their light and using it for the betterment of other people. So, hey, y'all, it's like our problem, our people, our solution. So let's just continue to be part of the power.
Well, you're all Black gems to me. And in closing, this has been a treat and the best way to recognize World AIDS Day 2020. I'm your host, Patrick Riley, and you can go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble to pick up my book, That's What Friends Are For, on the women who inspired me. And I have to shout out Terry Burrell, the Black mom, in Love Him, as we're knocking on 39 years since she splashed on The Great White Way in the iconic Broadway musical Dreamgirls. And I just want to shout her out because I speak her name and I speak and amplify.
And because that's my mama.
That's right. And that's your mama.
Or at least that's my mama right now. I got a lot
That's
of
right.
mamas.
And she's an awesome mom. Thanks to Horizon Theater for its virtual world premiere of Love M, and for all of our global HIV/AIDS organization partners, for World AIDS Day 2020, the Black Leadership AIDS Crisis Coalition, AIDS Healthcare Foundation, We Love You Amara, Rolling Out Media, and our awesome panel, Dr. Shalondra K. Crawford, Dr. Daniel Black, Mr. Daniel DRIFFIN, and Mr. LAMMAN RUCKER. Thanks, everybody. Happy World AIDS Day and happy holidays.
Yeah, Amara, love you. I appreciate you.
Amara, you want to jump in?
Oh, good. He's with us.
Amara's got a last thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
What's up? This is thank you to the entire team at Horizon Theater, this amazing group of thought leaders. This conversation was elevating, and if you couldn't see the chat, just know that you really made a tremendous impact. And just as we close out, I would be remiss to say, as has been shared, first and foremost, as we close out World AIDS Day 2020, particularly to our Black and Brown brothers and sisters, please empower yourselves to know your status. Get tested. That is the first thing. It may be the most challenging thing, but quite honestly, it's the simplest thing. Because if you take that first step, then you are making a commitment to this beautiful vessel that God bestowed upon each and every one of us. If you don't know where to go get tested, if you're not sure where to go to get tested, you can simply go to freehivtest.net, put in your zip code. No matter where you are in the continental US, it will guide you to where you can go find a rapid, free, confidential test, and to know your status. And to know that if you test positive, we will get you into care no matter where you are, no matter what AIDS service organization is close to you, to ensure that you can live the fruitful, dignified life that all of humanity deserves. So thank you all again. And on behalf of the entire global organization of HF, we just say thank you, appreciate you, God bless, and happy holidays to all.
Please spread the word. The play is up running for a while, and we want lots of people to see it. Thank you all for being with us. Have a blessed and wonderful holiday season.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Much
everybody.
love, respect.